Right. This is why I'm glad I've got a MacBook Pro. But let me explain that after I've stood up, had a cup of tea, and sat down. Stood up, had a cup of tea, that's really. Hello. Hello, I'm William Gallagher, and this is 58 Keys, which is ever, as always. It's for writers like you and me who use and who write on Macs, on iPhones, and on iPads. Do subscribe because, there's just so much we can talk about here. Such as, for me, it's now been 3 months since I bought an extremely costly 14-inch MacBook Pro. There have been times I've regretted it. Yeah, not just, when all that money went out of my account. But there have also been times when it has been precisely what I needed, such as right now. As I record this, 6-ish hours before the Writers Guild of Great Britain Awards, the 29th Awards. I'm not anything, I'm just one of the organisers, but this machine means that I can be here, that I could come to this hotel in London, come here last night, spend the whole day doing all of my usual other writing work right here at this table, and then pop off to the awards for the evening, specifically because of this MacBook Pro. So, 3 months in, I wanted to tell you all the good bits. I must obviously tell you the bad. And there are a few in-betweeny bits. So actually, let me get rid of those. Let me get rid of the in-betweeny bits first. Yes, I could have done all of the work that I'm doing today on my iPad. It would have been slower at least, and actually it could have been a little bit tense, especially as since it happens. A couple of the deadlines that I've been working on so far today, they've been a bit tight. Plus, there have been some things where it would have been just fiddly enough. I think I would have spent time figuring out how to do things instead of just getting on and doing them. So, whereas with the MacBook Pro, it is like I've got my entire office with me, or it is with, call it 2 exceptions, one good exception and one bad. The bad is that the screen is a lot more cramped than my Office's 49-inch monitor. I mean, it would be 49 inches versus 14 inches, even I can do that maths. But I didn't appreciate how much I would notice it in general use. I am getting used to it, but it means actually the result is I don't arrange windows the same way. I don't organize them. I just tend to cycle through the apps as I need them and leave them vaguely wherever they open. And it feels a bit untidy, a bit kind of disorganized. But I do also now use split screen far more than I did. Used to have that on the iPad quite a bit, not on the Mac. I'm still getting used to it. We'll see if it sticks. When I'm on the screen though, I'm finding it weirdly hard to keep it clean. It's not like I touch it, except maybe, but there are smudges and it's hard to get them off. Looks to me like it might be coming from the keyboard, but then I can't keep the keyboard clean either. Speaking of the keyboard though, this is important. It is excellent. I never quite stop noticing that it is different to the Magic Keyboard on my Office Mac Mini, but I like it so much. And given for how many years it's been that Apple keyboards have been problematic on laptops, that's not only a great thing, it's a relief for things. And since I appear to have just segued out of the bad and into the chief good exception is probably that this MacBook Pro is so much faster than even my Apple Silicon Mac Mini that I am writing faster. Seriously, writing faster. Who knew I was slowed down by technology on previous Macs? I want to say, though, that right here, right now, in a London hotel, I am being a bit slowed down by the hotel Wi-Fi. Except I think I am noticing that more because everything else is so fast. Bad things and regrets. The one regret, but the quite few times I've had it, has been that I didn't think I was getting enough use out of this expensive machine. I mean, originally, actually in the many months of planning to get a MacBook Pro of some sort and then the 14-inch one, the idea was that I would be out, as I am now actually, but a lot, and that has not happened. Then once I actually had the machine and the MacBook Pro turned out to be so fast, I thought obviously I'll switch to it for my main machine. I have a Mac Mini on my desk. I was surely going to unplug that, plug this into the large monitor and use my MacBook Pro as if it were a desktop Mac. I mean, use it as a desktop Mac while I'm in the office and then just unplug it, take it away with me whenever I'd have to leave on all of these trips. No, I have not once plugged this MacBook Pro into my large office monitor. Not once, not even for testing, not even to see what it was like. I do use this machine in the office on a second desk. It's behind me. I sometimes use it there quite a lot, but it hasn't been my main machine in there the way I came to think it would or should be. I am embarrassed to say that it has been my main machine when, you know, a really bad day, I've decided to stick to my couch for the entire working hours, or bed sometimes on a particularly bad day. Yeah, but if this has been a regret that I'm now regretting telling you, it's a regret about me. It's not a criticism of the machine. And I do have one criticism of the machine. There is one thing I've found that I don't think is good. It shouldn't affect you as a writer. Well, it doesn't affect me as a writer. It's been when I've been editing videos. Final Cut Pro, which I adore, it fills up my 2 terabytes of space astoundingly quickly. I mean, it does that. It's known for that. There are things you can do, and it's always a temporary kind of thing. Once a video has been edited, you can tell it, yeah, enough. And it deletes all its temporary files, and all of that lovely space comes flooding back to you, except one time. I was trying to airdrop this small little file from my phone to my MacBook Pro, and it was so frustrating because it wasn't working, and neither iPhone nor MacBook Pro were giving me the single clue why it was failing all the time. And in the end, I airdropped it from my phone to my Office Mac Mini, and then from the Mac Mini to the MacBook Pro, and now it told me. The Mac Mini said couldn't do it. It was failing because there wasn't enough space left on the MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro was saying it had 1.5 terabytes of space, but the Mac Mini said no, it didn't have 20 gigabytes or something like that. The Mac Mini was right. I dug into this and I found that the MacBook Pro, it was showing free all of this space I could fill up with as much writing as you can imagine, but it was all called purgeable. I know what the word means. I don't understand what the context means, and I've never seen it before on a Mac. But now, I mean, I finally got rid of it, finally purged it, I suppose, but I can't remember how. Many restarts, deleting of caches. I dug into this one. Please to the God of Final Cut Pro, something worked, and I got all the space back. And now I could airdrop, I could carry on writing. I said I'm at the Writers Guild Awards. Tomorrow, I'm going to be given all of the video footage from the event's live stream, and my job is to edit a couple of videos out of it. So in the middle of all of this purgeable stuff, I was getting pretty panicked actually, and wishing I'd bought a bigger drive. Impossible, I couldn't afford it, but I wished I had. As it is, I'm okay. I now understand that I have to be extra careful with my space and with Final Cut Pro, and it's one more thing to think about that I could do without. Plus, in trying to fix it, and this could affect you as a writer, I followed Apple's recommendations and turned on the optimized, the managed storage feature, the automatic storage thing. It's quite hard to turn that off again. And I would quite like to now, please, because I appear to have filled up my iCloud storage too. Good things, and actually relief that I've got this. The main relief, the main good thing is that now that I am away, I was right. This is making it possible for me to do everything I do in my business, and to do it at least as fast as if I were in my own office. I mean, yeah, I have the poor Wi-Fi, and I don't have the Stream Deck that I use with the Mac Mini, but I have a gloriously fast Mac. I love this Mac for that responsiveness, for that capability, that sense of being able to do anything and everything that I need, and to do it right now, immediately. Plus, it's so small, it's so light. Possibly by the time you see this, there will publicly available be universal control. Universal control will be publicly available, possibly. It gives you a bigger screen by letting you put your iPad next to the Mac and control the two together. I've been trying it in beta, and it is remarkable. I mean, it's remarkable in the sense that it seems spookily magical. I work at this Mac, and I am doing things on the iPad, or vice versa. It's not been any use to me here because one of the few requirements of all of this is that both MacBook or Mac and iPad, they be on the same Wi-Fi network, and I can't really do that here in the hotel. For what I've paid for on the Wi-Fi, there's a 2-device limit, and I've chosen to have the Mac and my iPhone on that. Mind you, actually, just as an aside, once I'd tried out Universal Control and been suitably spooked out by it, didn't really find an actual real use for it in my work. It helps so that I really am getting used to the smaller screen, and that in its turn is helped by how good this small screen is. It looks so much better than my giant Office Mac. I would change the Office Mac if I could for it, the monitor I mean. And I even get used actually to the teeny space, the skinny screen in Final Cut Pro. And again, yeah, not a writing tool, although if you and I were sitting in a pub right now, I would be making the case that video editing, the pacing, the rhythm, the choosing, it uses all the same muscles you and I use in writing. But yeah, okay, we're not in the pub and you're looking at me. Not a writing tool. So ignore this, but it has been a significant thing for me. I said that Final Cut Pro was the reason for the one criticism, the one bad thing I had about the machine in my use so far. It's also in a dramatically perfect kind of balance. Also the reason for the most tremendous thing. This machine has changed my working week, whether I'm away or not. I was doing this thing, I was editing a long 58 keys video on my Mac Mini. I mean, link below, it was the 90-minute guide to Apple Pages. And apart from being an hour and a half, Apple Pages, the movie, I don't think there was anything particularly complicated about it as a video thing. But still, my Office Mac Mini was struggling. It struggled and struggled, and so much so that in the end, I stepped away. I took the time to figure out how to move an entire Final Cut Pro project and library and things over to another machine, to this MacBook Pro, and there it flew. Yes, I have that small window in which to work, and I've got used now to closing and opening various panels and controls in Final Cut Pro, but like I say, I've got used to them. So much so that now every video is edited on this MacBook Pro. Being here, talking to you right now, I feel validated in a way about having bought this 14-inch MacBook, a 14-inch MacBook Pro with 32 gigabytes of RAM, M1 Max processor, and 2 terabytes of storage. Paying for it was painful, even though actually I had a lot of help with funding. It's still terribly painful. And the moment when I thought I should have got 4 terabytes of storage, as impossible as that was a pretty bad moment. But overall, this is the best Mac I've ever used. And my only true regret at this precise moment is that it can't really help me get any dinner before I go to the awards. Genuinely, that is a problem. Also, I think I need to re-iron my shirt, possibly. Yeah, you don't need to know any of that. You certainly don't need to see that. Thanks for watching. Now, you take care of yourself, you write more, and I will head off to the 29th Writers Guild of Great Britain Awards. See you soon.